Welcome to Blue Pill Podcast, everyone. This is Abe, your host. It is April 13th. Unlucky 13. Hopefully it's a good day and nothing bad happens, So, as far as update, I've just been off. I've been doing a lot of work on my channel. As you guys have seen, I had 2 podcasts premiere in the past 2 days, and what it is I was covering 2 different content creators in the conspiracy realm. One was Tyler Glockner from Secure Team 10, and one was Jay Station. It's older stuff. It's nothing new, but what I did was I stitched them together to put them out as a podcast, each one as a different podcast episode, and I was doing it for Spotify, and I was like, fuck it, I'll just put it out on YouTube too, There's just older videos, nothing new. If you've never heard the saga of those 2 individuals, go ahead, check them out. That, and I do have, me and my 2 friends of mine, are planning a podcast. We were supposed to do a group chat yesterday, but a family emergency happened for one of the people. Her husband is not doing too hot, so if y'all want to say a little prayer for her and her family, and you know me, I'm an occultist, so you guys do you, boo-boo, like y'all, whatever it is you believe in, thoughts and prayers to them that it gets better. That's it for an update. Today we are going to be reviewing Men in Black, the series for Game Boy Color, and let's get on with the show. So first of all, it's based off of basically the cartoon Men in Black. I do remember watching it as a kid, and I don't know why, for some reason I remember not liking the cartoon. When I was a kid, I could not stand sci-fi, and the older I've gotten, I actually have, sci-fi's kind of grown on me. Like, Star Wars is okay. I'm not obsessed with Star Wars. I know there's a lot of people out there who are like obsessed with Star Wars. I'm more of a fantasy guy myself. Like I've said in previous podcasts, I enjoy like Chronicles of Narnia, Lord of the Rings, that type of stuff. Most of my games are fantasy games. But sci-fi has grown on me, and when I was a kid and younger, I used to literally think the whole concept of aliens was like retarded, like stupid. And I was just always turned off by just sci-fi. I'm like, why do they look so weird? This is dumb. Until I had a UFO experience, and it completely blew my fucking mind. And it changed my life forever, dude. That was one of the moments, like, I was already into conspiracy and already awake, but I think that was just like a even bigger wake-up call. There's 2 or 3 instances in my life that completely altered my life. Like, from that point on, I got super big into ufology and ancient astronaut theory, which I still believe in ancient astronaut theory. It's just my thoughts on it have changed. Like, I do believe, that we were altered by the lowercase gods, the Anunnaki. They created us. I do believe in a creator of all. I just don't believe in the whole Jewish, Christian, Judeo-Christian, all that stuff, like Saturn worship and all that. Like, I'm just not big on that. Yeah, I need to rewatch it, because I think, honestly, the art style for the cartoon is actually pretty dope. Looking at it now, like, I seen it definitely in the game because it's based off of the series. So, like, there is cutscenes in this game. That is one thing I have to say about this game. Like, The music's good. The music's groovy. It definitely sets the mood. Um, the cutscenes are amazing, and this is a Game Boy Color cartridge, and they do not have a saving battery. But before I'll get into that later, because you guys know how I feel about saving batteries and stuff. It's not necessary, and I'll get into it later. But the cutscenes, and I think because they didn't spend as much money or time on the saving battery and stuff, and the game, which I'll get into later, is super short. Um, so it gave them a lot more leadway on the graphics and cutscenes. Like there's multiple cutscenes in this game, and they're like amazing for Game Boy Color. Here, let me actually pull up. Let me see if I can find it on YouTube. I got my TV over here, and I'll show you some of it. And I'll show you just the intro. Let me turn it up a little bit, but it's goofy, but I mean, for Game Boy Color, it's amazing. But yeah, you see what I mean? I mean, I know like there's probably going to be younger people who are like, boomer, but like for Game Boy Color, that was impressive, dude. That's like cutscenes on a Game Boy Color, that's just impressive. So that's an example of the cutscenes that I was telling you about. But yeah, and you see how it keeps the same art style. So Men in Black in general, I am a conspiracy theorist. This is almost gonna get. This is kind of like almost a conspiracy corner podcast episode, but something else with the Men in Black too is Men in Black in the cartoon and the movies. Everyone thinks of that. That's not how the actual real Men in Black are. And yes, Men in Black, in my opinion, are real. They kind of broke onto the scene of conspiracy with John A. Keel. I've read his book Mothman Prophecies, and it gets into it. That is, first of all, I've said this a billion times on this channel. That is a must read. It's not that long. I read it in like 2 or 3 days. It changed my life. It is one of the like greatest books I've ever read, dude. But it talks about Men in Black, and Men in Black aren't like real friendly and um talkative and like show a lot of emotion and shit. They're actually kind of like drones almost. They're emotionless. Um very like weird facial features, like no eyebrows, super pale skin. Um they talk very monotone. Um he John A. Keel described them definitely as a lot of them were disheveled, like their clothes would be too big or too small, or their shoes would be untied, their glasses would be crooked, almost like they just didn't understand what it was like to be human. So a lot of people think they're either like, primitive early robotics, because like Mothman Prophecies was written in like 1968 or 9 or somewhere around there. Is in the 60s, I believe. Um, so they think they could have been like maybe military like androids, or in primitive with that at that time, which military is always like 50 to 100 years ahead. So it still would be somewhat primitive, or they're like alien almost, like not of this world. So the depiction of Men in Black in the movies and cartoon is not how the actual Men in Black are. But so first of all, the game is beautiful. It looks beautiful. The colors are awesome. I love a beautiful colorful game. Now, it's a password game, but here's the thing. They give you a password, I believe, after every level. So go watch one of my older episodes. I did an episode on Road to El Dorado for Game Boy Color, and I explained in that one of the issues of feeling on edge and nervous because they give you a password every 3 levels, every 2, sometimes every 4. So that was really annoying. You have to beat the game in chunks. This one gives you a password after every level. And let's see, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, Men in Black. This cartridge, this game, is super short. I mean, it is amazingly short, and it kind of makes sense. I could see why. Like, I think kind of like the Teen Titans review I did. Go watch that. Um, it's aimed at towards kids, towards children. So I think for one, it's aimed towards kids and children. Two, because they focus so much on the cutscenes, which I don't mind, you can beat it literally in one sitting. I beat it in one day. I beat it in one day, and I mean I was taking breaks here and there, but you can beat it in like literally one sitting. Um, but yeah, I mean if you want like a quick game, I've seen people beat it in like 30 minutes. If you got 30 minutes to spare, a 30-minute lunch break, you could speed run it. Or you get an hour lunch, you could just chill and eat your lunch real quick. Or if you don't eat lunch, you could literally beat this game on your hour lunch break, because some places give you an hour. So it's a quick, fun, easy game. I would consider this Teen Titans, um, Road to El Dorado, just like something easy you could pick up real quick playthrough, beat it. If you're a busy person, it's a good game for that. Um, so the replay value on it is high in my opinion because it's such a speed run type game. I always play every time I get a game. You can make fun of me, I don't care. I always play it and beat it on easy mode first. So the replay value is definitely higher on this because on easy, it is super easy. And especially where it's a short game, I could see myself going back and replaying it on normal. Um, it'd be interesting. It'd be fun. I actually have quite a few games that I've beat on easy mode. So now, um, let's say I'm kind of broke for a while or something, broke for the month or something. Like say my car breaks down and I don't have money to get new Game Boy carts or something, I can sit here and go, okay, I'm gonna go through my library and oh, I beat this on easy. Now let me beat it on normal. So replay value is high. When I say it was easy, I only had 2 parts where I didn't get stuck. It was just tricky. Like there's one part where you have to fight a Hat Man. So if you've never heard of the Hat Man, I did an interview with Miss McGillicuddy. I think we actually kind of get into the Hat Man subject a little bit. Basically, and there's been a resurgence of the Hat Man here lately. Give me just a second. There's been a resurgence of the Hat Man here lately. Give me just a second. Due to a TikTok trend, which obviously I'm not telling you to do this. I would advise against it. But a lot of people have been doing this like Benadryl challenge is what they're calling it. Basically, and I've already thought about it. I'm gonna do a whole episode on the Benadryl challenge and Hatman in general. I do believe it's some form of interdimensional entity. Perhaps demonic. Um, but essentially it's a black shadowy figure with a fedora or top hat, and 2 red glowing eyes. And a lot of people have been taking Benadryl and tripping out and there's phases to this whole Benadryl thing. I'll go into further detail on an episode. And literally tripping balls, and yeah, it's fucking crazy. And seeing the Hat Man. But anyways, being a Men in Black game, you know, they're literally fighting entities and stuff. The Hat Man is in the game, and he's kind of like a mini boss. He ends up flying above you, and I didn't even know that you could literally like do like a spray shot in front of you, and then it sprays like a half circle. So I had to look that up, and I'm like, oh, cool. um, and another part I got slightly stuck on and just kind of looked it up was when you go. That's actually, I believe, the last level of the game. There's these like cute little aliens, and then they turn into like freakishly monster ones, and I kept trying to jump over it and it'd kill me, and I couldn't jump over it. And turns out, kind of like Mario, you just got to jump on it and you crush it and smash it. Um, and it's like the only enemy in the game that you're supposed to jump on. Every other enemy, it hurts you. So it's kind of one of those things of like, well, how the fuck would I have figured that out, you know? But so the levels in this game were super fun, super cool, super interesting. I loved the levels. I don't think there was any level that I didn't like. You start out on the base, so basically you're in the Men in Black like headquarters, and it's getting like attacked by aliens. And some of the aliens are cool, some of them are bad, so you gotta figure out which ones are good and which ones are bad. And then one of my, I would say my favorite level of the game, and I've always loved in video games like street levels, like city levels. I don't know, just the exploration of it, like Double Dragon walking through the city, or like Grand Theft Auto. That's one of my favorite series because of the exploration, like the sandbox stuff. Now this is all side scroll. I didn't mention that the game is side scroll, so it's not so much exploration, but it's cool to like look at all the different buildings, and that's the thing. Like I didn't feel like the levels were repetitive as far as like the same buildings or shit like that, because the levels they're not super long levels. um so it didn't feel like every other building was like the same building. It felt different, you know. There's like cars and trash cans you gotta jump over, and it's just neat. Like my favorite was the street level. There's a rooftop level, which is pretty dope. Forest level at nighttime, which is cool. A sewer level. Every side scroll game back in the day had a sewer level. I don't know what it is about sewer levels. Just every game had a sewer level. And then there's like a military slash like NASA base where there's all these space shuttles in the background, and you got to fight like the Hat Man, and it's like at dusk, so everything's like golden orange in the background at sunset. Um, Pretty cool. But yeah, levels were awesome. I love the level designs. So here's one thing they kind of missed out on. Um, but they did fix. So there is a sequel to this game for the Game Boy Color, and apparently they took everything that was wrong with the first one and fixed it. So like one thing is you can only play as Will Smith, and I say Will Smith because I can't remember his character name. So you can only play as Will Smith in this one. The second one, you get to choose between him and the older white guy. I forget his name, but so you get a choice on the second one. Um, it's all side scroll. It's a side scroll shooter. It would have been cool. I ain't gonna lie, and they kind of missed out. And the game could have been longer and better. So what I would have done, because the car was so cool. I do remember that in the cartoon and the movie. First of all, it was a badass old school car, which they did keep with the whole Men in Black trope with that, like the classic cars. Because even Men in Black to this day, they still say that it kind of ties in with they're out of touch with human nature, so they still drive around in like 60s black Cadillacs and shit. Um, And I remember as a kid, like the car having all these cool little features, like it could like drive upside down, like you've seen in the opening cutscene, shoot fire. It had machine guns attached to it. Like I remember it having cool shit like that. At least I was a child when I seen it. I think it was Men in Black car that was like that. But what they could have done, and they did it with Ghost Rider, for Game Boy Advance. I want that game so bad because Ghost Rider for the PlayStation 2, and yes, you can make fun of me. That's fine. Was one of my favorite games growing up. Um, but the Game Boy Advanced one is like a side scroll beat 'em up. So it'd be one level of that, and they did it with the PlayStation 2 also. And then it'd be a motorcycle level, and then a fighting level, and a motorcycle. It was like checkerboard. So it kept the game from getting repetitive. Which, where this game is so short, it's short and sweet. It doesn't become repetitive. It's bittersweet. Like when it was over, I was like, oh man, that's it. You know. But like I said, the replay value's high. I'm gonna beat it on normal mode next. Um, but they could have done the same thing, like did a side scroll shooting level, and then a car level, you know, and then a side scroll shooting level, and then a car level. As long as they designed the car level good, it would have, first of all, made the game like twice as long, and second off, it would have been like, uh, would have been cool, you know. It just would have. It's something they missed out on, and I don't know, man. Sometimes I feel like, dude, I should have worked for like a video game company, at least as far as like coming up with ideas and shit, you know. So in the game, you collect like sunglasses, and it's supposed to be like health. Um, I can't remember. There might have been grenades in it because it's been a second since I played. You do get an ability to where like I think it's referencing like the big gun in the show and movies. So it's you do get like an ability to fire off like big shots, and it literally launches your character back. It's pretty dope. Um, so this is where this game kind of reminds me of Samurai Jack. So it is clunky, but in a good way. As weird as that sounds, it almost reminds. It feels like you're on like a rail, and you when you jump, you like have to push it at the right time, and it'll complete the jump. I never found myself. You would have to try to fall into like pits. You know what I mean? It's super easy, and when you jump, it literally makes sure you clear the pit. Like I didn't fall through anything. I think I fell through like something like once or twice. That was it. Down a pit. So it's actually in a weird way, a lot of this game is timing. It's clunky, but in a good way, and you can literally get the timing down muscle memory wise, doing a level like once or twice. If let's say you die, like it's easy as fuck. Trust me, it's clunky, but it's easy clunky, and it's not a bad clunky, as weird as that sounds. And if you've played it, you know. So speaking of clunky, they did say, I watched a couple reviews of other people reviewing the second one, which I plan on getting if I ever find it. I'm not going to go out of my way to order it or nothing. Because most of my stuff, most of my games, I've literally just been going around and picking them up. Which at the end of the video, I'll show you 2 games I got yesterday. But the second one apparently does run a lot smoother. And the first one is very linear. It's left to right. Make it to the left, or make it to the right on every level. There's a couple parts where there's elevators, and it'll just restart you at the left. You know, you can't get lost. The second one, it looks like there's a lot of like, I guess it'd be kind of like a Metroid clone of basically jumping around, and you can go left, right, left. You could. It looks like you could probably get lost if you know. And it's not clunky at all. Apparently, they worked out the whole clunkiness on the second one. I'll have to do a review on it whenever, if I get a hold of it. So yeah, they apparently fix all of the issues with the first one. So yeah, I look forward to that. And this is a black cart. If you can tell, I got it in plastic, which means that you can play it on regular Game Boy and Game Boy Color. A lot of people don't know, and I'll show you. Let's see, without knocking the camera down. So I'll show this real quick. Original Game Boy, it's Rugrats, gray. Hybrid, which means you can play it on Game Boy Color and Game Boy, black. And Game Boy Color only is clear. And with the first two, the gray and the black carts, this part will be indented and this part will actually bump out. So a lot of people didn't know that, and I didn't know that as a kid. I just thought they were just, some games were like, oh, we just want a black game, or some were like, oh, we want a clear game. It looks cool. I actually didn't know that growing up. And it would show on the box too, like only for Game Boy Color, But yeah, the black ones are backwards compatible, which is pretty cool. That Nintendo's always been cool like that, as far as like backwards compatibility with a lot of their systems. Also, I always liked that, they wanted you to have more bang for your buck. Like if, let's say you had when Game Boy Color first came out, if you couldn't afford Game Boy Color and you had the gray brick, you could still play some of those Game Boy Color games as long as it was a black cartridge. So it was kind of cool. They were still looking out for their consumers, and you just don't see that anymore. I mean, I feel like back in the day, like companies actually cared about their customers and stuff, and you just don't see that anymore. So altogether, I would say I give this game, I give it an 8 out of 10. It was too short. They could have did car sequences. That would have been cool. Um, Passwords didn't bother me, like I said, because of the length of the game. If it was longer, no, I still would be fine with passwords. I don't mind passwords. I really don't. I understand why they do it, because it saves money on the battery. And some games just don't need like saving, a save, battery saves. Like unless you're playing like Final Fantasy or Legend of Zelda, those games like would be horrible without a saving battery. If you had to do passwords with those, that would be miserable. But yeah, I mean, as far as like certain games, honestly, I don't blame them for doing passwords. I got a game yesterday actually, Van Helsing for Game Boy Advanced, and it's a password game. Some of they still kept up passwords even with the Game Boy Advance. They still had passwords, and with certain games, I get it. You don't need saving. But the cutscenes look amazing. Yeah, I had fun with it. It's a fun little short game. It's nothing amazing. It's nothing super crazy, but I had fun with it. So I give it an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it. Here's the two games though that I picked up yesterday, and just a little update on what's going on with the channel. So I got Van Helsing for Game Boy Advanced. My wife bought this for me for an Easter present, so that was cool. I bought her like a gem, a stone, because we're kind of into the occult and stuff, and she likes stones and stuff. And I got this too, Cartoon Network Racing, Cartoon Network Speedway. As you can see, I'm a huge fan of Courage the Cowardly Dog, and he's in it. And I like Mario Kart and stuff, and it's basically a Mario Kart clone. Everybody was making Mario Kart clones at the time. There's like a Nicktoons one too. So right now I'm currently playing Lord of the Rings Return of the King, and you can make fun of me, but a horse game. And I'm actually getting far in both of these. So, because I've been grinding like crazy on both of them. Not grinding, but just playing them like crazy. Like all day yesterday when I got my chores done, like I was playing both of them for hours. So like I'm getting close, I think, to beating both of them. So I will be reviewing those soon on the channel, hopefully, knock on wood. Because I try to beat a game before I review it, unless I get stuck or something, like the Lord of the Rings Fellowship, you know. But that's all. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm trying to get up to 500 subscribers, so please subscribe, please share. Hope you all enjoy. Y'all have a good day.